Hello, welcome back to the channel. I'm Rose, I've got a hot cup of tea, and today we are looking at my most anticipated releases for 2025. I love tea. Yep, I can't believe how quickly 2024 flew by, but I thought it might be quite nice to sit down, pour yourself a cup of tea, hit pause here, and come in and delve with me into the book releases coming out in 2025 that I'm most excited for. We have got thrillers, we've got dark academia, we've got fantasy, we've got books set in the forest, we've got horror, we've got romantic comedies. We've pretty much got it all, guys. So yeah, I'm really excited to share 25 books that I can't wait to read in 2025 that are all coming out across the year. So get out your Goodreads app or your Storygraph or your pen and paper, or just head to your library and get ready with a list of books that should be on your TBR. And number one, we've got Immortal by Su Lin Tan. This is a standalone romantic fantasy. 2024 was the year that I delved into romantasy and loved it. This comes out in January the 7th. And this, we follow the daughter of a moon goddess, which I'm here for that. That sounds cool. Who's trying to save her kingdom. I think she's put on the throne after someone was poisoned, and I have a feeling that we're looking at the fact that she wasn't intended to be on the throne just yet, or maybe wasn't ready. But I'm here for a little bit more romantasy. On number two, we have got Witchcraft for Wayward Girls. This is by Grady Hendrix. This comes out on the 14th of Jan 2025. And in this story, we follow a group of teenage pregnant girls. It's set in the 1970s in Florida. And I think they're sent to an old home, which is pretty strict. However, I think something witchy is going on. I think the main character finds out that she can do magic or is a witch, or perhaps this strict home is for witches. I just know the cover is giving witchy vibes, and obviously the title, and I'm here for it. And number three, we have A Water Moon by Samantha Soto Yambawa. I love this cover. I think this is a gorgeous cover, and the premise sounds even better. This comes out on the 14th of Jan, and it's probably one of the most excited I am about a book coming out in January. So it's set in Tokyo, and we're following a hidden shop that on the outside looks like a ramen shop, but on the inside transports you to another world. I think you have to trade your regrets to get to the new world, or it might be that you can go back in time to amend your regret, which has given me the same vibes of When the Coffee Gets Cold. If you haven't read that series, check that out, because that's a lovely series. We're also following a missing father, so this woman goes on a kind of a journey to find her missing dad. And number four, love this title, we've got We Could Be Rats. This is by Emily R. Austin. This comes out on January the 28th. And all I know about this story is that we follow two sisters, very different sisters, and they come back together because of an event. And it's a bit of like a love letter to a childhood. We look at sister relationships and the dynamics of that, and the struggles and tension that can come with that. But it's a little bit about growing up and the power of our imagination. Another book I absolutely adore the title of, at number 5, is The Lamb, and this is by Lucy Rose. This comes out on January the 30th. In this story, we follow a daughter and a mum that live in a cabin in some forest, and kind of really far out in the sticks, and they wait for strays to come and knock on their door, and I think these are usually men. And the mum and the daughter, they give them food, they give them wine, they're very welcoming, they give them a place to stay, but actually there's something a lot darker going on under the surface, and I'm not sure if the people ever get to leave. It looks dark, the cover is making me goosebumpy, but I'm like super excited for this. And number 6, we have The Forest King's Daughter. This is by Ella Blake, and this comes out on the 11th of February. I haven't read it, but this is the same author that wrote the Frost Blood saga, which got really good reviews. And I was really drawn in because it's obviously set in a forest, and if you watch this channel, you know that they're my favourite books when they're set in a forest. And we follow the daughter of a powerful forest king, and it's a bit of an enemies to lover trope going on. I don't mind the trope. It's not my favourite, but I know a lot of people love that trope. So if you're into that trope, maybe check this book out. But I'm here for the forest vibes and the fantasy. And number 7, a cover that really drew me in. This is The Girl You Know by Ella Gonzalez Rose. This comes out on 18th of Feb. This is a dark academia thriller. Love dark academia. I'm really getting into thriller at the moment. Also, the cover. I love red and pink combinations at the moment. I've got a cardigan I keep wearing that's red and pink. I'm actually living in it. It's getting a bit gross. Post a photo here. I really need to wash this cardigan now. We follow a sister, a twin sister, and sadly her twin sister's passed away, and this sister goes to the boarding school of the just passed twin sister. This is getting confusing. To find out what really happened to her sister. So we've got that kind of boarding school setting, which always is a little bit creepy, isn't it? Lots of women. I think we're going to look at kind of sisterhood again, another book for sisterhood, but also women, kind of strong women, dark themes, I'm guessing. I think there's secrets, there's danger, there's really strong emotions. Obviously there's grief in there, but also wanting to find out the truth for your sister. And the book says there's also deadly consequences. And number 8, we've got a very lovely sounding book. This is The Amber Owl, and it's by Juliette Marillier, yeah. Expected 25th of Feb. We follow Stasia, love that name, who has a rare gift for animals. I don't know what the gift is, just a rare gift. I think she might be able to speak to them. And she lives on an isolated farming village, but after rebelling against the throne, I think it is, she gets sent to the court. And this is a story about Stasia trying to protect her forest land that she's grew up with. Obviously there's going to be some magic with this charm or gift with animals. And I think it's a bit of a coming of age story, where Stasia really gets to find her voice and perhaps stick up and protect for those that might not have a voice, aka the magical forest animals. And number 9, again, super great cover. We've got Deep Cuts by Holly Brickley. This reminds me, this comes out on the 25th of Feb, and when I read the blurb, it reminded me of kind of Normal People by Sally Rooney meets Daisy Jones and the Six, which I love, love, love both of those books. Also, the Netflix series are fantastic. We follow Percy, who's in a bar. Hall & Oates are on the jukebox, so again, music that I love anyway. She has no talent for music but loves writing about it. She's very opinionated. And we also meet fellow student Jo, who is a songwriter, not quite as opinionated, but meets Percy at the bar. They clash a little bit, but I think there's a little spark there, and we just follow their story. I can imagine it's going to be kind of, they get together, they don't, they fall out, they get back together, la 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 la. But I love those kind of stories, and yeah, and I love the cover and the kind of vinyl vibe it gives. And number 10, we've got Creep, a love story by Emma van Straten. This comes out on the 25th of Feb. This cover, it says a love story, but I don't believe it. I don't believe it when you read the blurb. So this is a dark novel by the sounds of it, and I think it follows this woman that invites a stranger to live in her house, and I don't think they ever meet, but the stranger, you imagine you bring someone into your house, you've got all your personal belongings, there's lots of things that kind of tell someone a bit about you, depending on how you decorate your home and the books you read and the perfume you wear and the clothes in your wardrobe. A home tells a lot about you, and we follow the stranger that's in this house who starts to fall in love with the home owner. It sounds a bit creepy, and it's giving me stalkery vibes, so I'm quite interested to see what happens in this story. At number 11, we have Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McGonaghy. This comes out on the 4th of March. This is set on a remote island near Antarctica, and I've never read from this area before in terms of geographically. We follow a family working through grief, isolation, but also dealing with secrets, which I think are brought to the forefront when a woman's body, or I don't even know if it's a woman, I don't even know if it's a body, she might be alive actually, but a woman is washed upon the shore, and with that comes this kind of drama. How did the woman get here, what's she doing here? And I think secrets come out of the sea banks. See what I did there? I love the cover of this. I'm quite intrigued to see what goes on in this book. At number 12, we've got The Dream Hotel by Layla Lalami. This comes out on the 4th of March. I don't know loads about this book, but it sounds really interesting. All I know is the kind of the premise or the setting in which it's set in. And this is, so in this world, your dreams can be, what's the word? Under surveillance. So the police or the government, whoever, can monitor your dreams, and they do this to work out if they think you're a person that can commit crime or has committed crime, or you're potentially a dangerous person in your society based on the dreams that you have. That sounds really dangerous to me and kind of spooky, thinking that someone could have my dreams, especially when we feel like we don't have much control over what we dream about, most of us. And we're following a woman's fight for freedom, as I think she's wrongly sentenced or wrongly accused of something based on the dream she's having and her fight for freedom. At number 13, we've got Flesh by David Saleh, I think you say his name. This comes out on the 1st of April. David is a Man Booker Prize winner. I've not read from David before, and this will be my first experience, assuming I do go ahead and pick up the book. I was drawn in by the cover. I don't know what it is about this half-eaten apple. It's just giving me creepy vibes. Again, not a book I know loads about. Was a bit of like, oh, that cover looks intriguing, let's put this on the list and find out a little bit more about it. I read that it's a hypnotic novel, which is an interesting way to describe a book, about a series of an events that happen to a man, and it's spiraling out of control. And I think his future is slightly derailed, and this is a man that enjoys being in control. Number 14, we've got a book from an author that I absolutely adore. This is Vanishing World. It's by Sayaka Murata. The cover is yet to be revealed, so this is the temporary one we've got. This comes out on 24th of April. She wrote Convenience Store Woman, which I gobbled that book up whole. I read it in one sitting, absolutely loved it. If you haven't read it, it's one of my top favourite books, so do give it a read. It's set in Japan, and here couples no longer have sex and children are made through artificial insemination. That's all I know. That's all I need to know, because I love her writing, so I'll definitely be purchasing this when it comes out in April. At number 15, we've got Bat Eater and Other Names for Cora Zheng. Sorry, long title, I'm reading my notes. By Kylie Lee Baker. This comes out on the 29th of April. This is a horror, and I don't read a lot of horror because I get scared easily and then I get nightmares and they stick around for ages. But we follow a crime scene cleaner, and she's following or looking into her sister's murder. It's also set in a pandemic era world, and there's a serial killer targeting East Asian women. So I think this is going to be potentially an important book that looks at important themes that need to be addressed. I'm quite interested in books that are coming out after the pandemic. I struggled to read them during the pandemic. I did read one, which is a short story collection. Number 16 on the list, we've got Sleep by Honor Jones. This comes out on the 3rd of May. We follow a newly divorced young mum who has to go back to her childhood home with her children, and I think during this journey, or at the home, she has to confront her own childhood, perhaps trauma or things that happened, whilst also going through the grief of a broken marriage, and being a young mum to your daughters. Apparently it's meant to be incredibly moving, and I was quite drawn in by the cover. It's giving me that vibe. It says sleep, but I'm under the impression that she's not getting much sleep. At number 17, we've got Let Them Stare by Jonathan Van Ness and Julie Murphy. Now, I love Queer Eye, the TV show. It's one of my favourite things to watch on Netflix. And Jonathan Van Ness, or JVN, is one of my favourite. I mean, I love them all, but I just love their kind of attitude to life, how upbeat they are, how so themselves they are in their own skin. And this is a fictional tale, and we follow Sully, who teams up with a ghostly drag queen and their crush to uncover the small town's hidden secrets. So it's got that small town trope. It sounds like it's going to be an adventure. It's going to be a heartwarming tale of friendship, love and self-discovery. At number 18, we've got Dan in Green Gables, and this is a graphic novel. It's by Ray Terciero, I think you pronounce their name. This comes out on the 3rd of June, and this is a retelling of Anne in Green Gables, if you couldn't tell from the cover. But in this novel, we follow the 15-year-old Dan, living on a rural Tennessee farm, grappling with his queerness, in a very conservative community, and it has themes of home and identifying home and identity, and exploring who you are, and perhaps going beyond the closed mind or closed knit conservative community. Number 19, we've got another fantastic title for a book, Cosmic Love at the Cosmic Love at the Multiverse Hair Salon, and this is by Annie Mayer. This comes out on the 3rd of June. In this story, we follow two women who fall in love, but across timelines. There's a bit of time travel, and they're living 5 months apart. So we're kind of across parallel universes, fighting against fate for their version of the story that they would like. I mean, the cover to this is absolutely gorgeous, and I can honestly say I don't think I've ever read anything quite like this. Well, I'm assuming anyway, in terms of what the blurb's telling me. Number 20, we have Flashlight by Susan Choi. This comes out on the 3rd of June. This sounds like a very interesting premise for a book, and it's a little bit similar to one I mentioned earlier. This is about a father's disappearance, but the young girl being left on the beach. And Louisa, the young girl, is found washed up on the tide, barely alive, but her father has vanished. So I think it's a mystery. We're going to find out what's happened. I find the cover really interesting. I love this kind of flip on the side of the cover, and what that might mean or what that might represent. Number 21, we've got one that has given me spooky vibes, and I am definitely it's definitely an anticipated read, but I'm also a bit nervous to read it. It's A Girl Walks into the Forest by Madeline Rue. This comes out on the 10th of June. And this is described as Midsummer, and I'm going to come back to that in a moment, meets The Shadows Between Us in this mashup of horror and fairy tale from New York. So I watched Midsummer for the first time last year. One of the worst movies I've ever watched. Not in terms of it's a bad film, in terms of it scared the living daylight of me. So why did I put this on the list? I'm starting to question it myself, to be honest. I just thought it was quite intriguing. So we follow a girl on a harrowing journey through a forest. Now, as you know, I love books set in the forest. There's a few on this list alone. There are supernatural creatures and forces, there are villains, but also we're following the strong female protagonist. Will I read it? It's definitely a book I'm looking forward to. Will I have the guts to read it? I hope so. I hope so. There's a few horrors, which in the next book is similar. So at number 22, we've got Girl in the Creek by Wendy Wagner. This comes out on the 15th of July. I'm not gonna lie, I saw the cover with the mushrooms growing out of the woman's body, which I'm not sure if that's an alive body or a dead body because it's hard to tell from the cover. It looks atmospheric and it looks a little bit eerie. Also, I love a little foresty, mushroomy theme. So the snug that I'm sat in, we have a lot of kind of books about mushrooms and forests and a little bit of like mushroom kind of candles and stuff. So it's just a bit of me. So again, another book set in the forest. If you want to win me over, just set your book in the forest and I'm here, I'm buying it. But the forest is known to devour people. So if you enter the forest, you don't leave. However, I think The Girl in the Creek is going to be different, or someone's going to meet the girl in the creek. And obviously the story's going to change, but I think someone's going to come out of this forest alive. And number 23, really interesting book. We've got Automatic Noodle. This is by Anna Leibovitz and it comes out on the 5th of August. Look at the cover, I love it. As I mentioned earlier, ramen is one of my favourite things to eat. So the book cover with all the noodles and the colours of it, I was really drawn in. Now this is a sci-fi novel and I'll be honest, I don't read a lot of sci-fi. However, let me tell you what it's about, because if like me you're not sure, but you are a foodie, it might be for us, who knows. I might hate it, I might find that sci-fi is still not my genre, but we follow automatic noodles and these are machines that were made to produce noodles, but they kind of go on their own well, they're abandoned food service bots, and they start their own restaurant. The bots do. And that's as much as I know, and as much as I need to know to read this book. Will it make me enjoy sci-fi? Who knows? We'll find out on the 5th of August when it comes out. So 2 more books to go. At number 24, we've got What Hunger, and this is by Catherine Dang. This comes out on the 12th of August. But this is a haunting, and you kind of get that from the book cover, it feels a bit haunting, coming of age story following the daughter of Vietnamese immigrants as she grapples with trauma, with navigating violent power, looking at that teenage girlhood and the angst we feel, and also our body's changing and we're growing from child to adult. All of that. Apparently it's for fans of Little Fires Everywhere, and I really love that book and raced through that, and that's what convinced me to pick this up, because I hadn't heard of Catherine Dang before. I saw the cover, I thought that looks pretty interesting, and it's getting pretty good reviews for those that are reading ARC versions of this, so I thought, you know what, let's pop it on the list for 2025. And the last book at number 25 is Catabasis by R.F. Kuang. This comes out on the 26th of August. Now I'm just about to read Babel, from the same author, and I've recently read Yellowface. I absolutely loved Yellowface. It was my favourite book of 2024. So when I saw that R.F. Kuang was releasing a new novel, it had to go on the list. So this is dark academia, so very different from Babel and Yellowface, and we follow 2 rival students that are graduates that must journey to hell to rescue their favourite professor's soul. I'm here for that. What I love about R.F. Kuang is that every book, it's like she doesn't have a genre or a category. They're so different. So we have ancient myths, forbidden magic, we've got these 2 students trying to save their professor, we've got haunting past that come in, and they're putting their life on the line to rescue this very much loved, very clever, adored professor from their university. There we have it, 25 books I'm excited to read across 2025 that all come out across the year. I want to know if you're looking forward to any of these books, or if I'm missing any books that you think should be on my list. Do leave a comment, let me know, and I'll add them to this anticipated TBR. I hope you're reading something really fantastic, really gripping, and until the next video, I'll see you really soon.